Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the FearFans podcast. Good to be back. I'm your host, Don Elmy. With me is Tom Nally, let's see, Nick Millet, and Joe. Good, yeah, good to be back. We had to, miss last week because I was on vacation with family in Florida. But
How dare you?
and I decided,
How dare you? No, I'm just kidding.
let's see, Tom. Hey, welcome to hell. Yes.
Yeah,
Hey,
indeed.
Billy.
Welcome to hell.
We'll tear your soul apart.
Oh
We
yeah,
have
Classic.
such sights
Yeah.
to show you.
yeah. I don't know
Your
what
suffering
those
will be
lines are just
legendary,
so badass.
even in hell.
Those lines that he makes are just so badass.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah, he was always amazing. Oh my god. But so tonight we are covering something that Nick has been wanting to cover. This kind of a late birthday present. This I decided to do birthday requests now from all of my fellow Fear fans.
Wait a
members.
minute. Wait a
And,
minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. My birthday
We're-
was in
we're-
the beginning of February.
we're still gonna get to you, Tom. You're still gonna get Evil Dead.
Yeah. Hey,
We will. Hey,
you know what?
right hand to God, we will do
It's,
Evil Dead, Tom. I promise.
Hey, you know what, Tom? Here, just listen to me, okay? Because I'm trying to talk from Philly and Sylvester Stallone.
No, you're not.
Oh my God.
You can't sound like
Not
you're
even
from Philly.
close.
When you're from Chicago,
But
you sound like an idiot when you try to sound like you're
Yeah.
from Philly. I was just
You're really butchering it, Nick.
I mean, you
I
can't.
know I can't do, but hey, I just want to say, Tom, just stay with us. How many fingers am I holding up?
5.
No.
Okay, all right.
Hey,
So
well,
you guys, so many people, both audience and fellow members of Fear Fans, have been asking to cover this for a while, and it is the Clive Barker film Hellraiser, released in 1987, and this is arguably This is definitely one of his best films, if not his best.
Yeah, man.
Indeed, it is.
Yeah,
I mean, it had a
agree.
lot of cool
So if
special
it was
effects.
released in 87.
Yep.
Yes.
I saw it in 88 on HBO then.
Yeah, I probably
Oh,
did.
Because they were back then, it took them almost a full year when something was out in the theater
Yeah,
for it to be released on, HBO
cable.
or whatever.
yeah. I probably saw it around the same time the first time, and the special effects for the budget they had and for the time that it was were decent. But now, in hindsight, when you watch it, you could totally tell that like just say when Frank was emerging from the floor, you could totally tell it was like a reverse film of something melting that you know what I mean? Like
Yep.
Right.
you could
Yes,
totally
indeed.
tell.
Which
But
is
it
common-
still
is-
was cool.
Common with a lot of those effects back then.
I mean, especially like we talked about Evil Dead. They did very similar things.
They did.
On their
I
shoestring
think
budget.
I actually was impressed with Hellraiser's practical effects. I thought they were
Yeah.
good for what they were with the budget
No.
they had. Yeah?
They definitely were.
Yeah, I barely remember the first time I saw it. I
mean-
was at a friend's house in Chicago, actually Oak Lawn,
Oh, Oklahoma.
Chicago, and we were at his dad's house, and we were going to Great America the next day, and he reaches under the couch just before Hellraiser starts on HBO, and he reaches out the couch, pulls out a big old tray, and I got so fucking
Yeah.
baked. Excuse me, I got so baked that I don't even remember the flick, but I've watched it. I've actually got the first 4 on DVD.
Oh,
Now-
nice.
Oh.
Now me and Don were talking about it. Like which one was it? I know it was in the first 4 when like at some point they revert like the Cenobites or whatever they're called
Yeah, Cenobites.
had reverted back to their human form.
That was the second one.
Was it? No,
Second
was
one.
it the second?
Oh, it wasn't
Yeah, it
the
was.
second one. It was either 3 or 4.
That was the second one. I remember.
Because they were actually telling the whole origins of Pinhead.
Well,
and all
Right,
that.
like he was a Nazi.
Right.
No,
or
he was a
something.
World War One
He
fighter.
was a World
Right,
War
well,
One
he
or
was
World War
he
II
was part of the
vet
German.
playing with a box.
Yeah.
But
Right.
like they showed the other ones, like the dude with the sunglasses and the dude with the choppers and the chick with the hook through her,
Female
like
Cen-
Yeah,
They're
like they showed what they looked
Yeah,
like as humans.
yeah, they're
the
referred to as
Cenobites.
people
Yeah.
always want to forget their names. You got the female, just simply female Cenobite,
And
although
that's
she's sometimes referred to
a
as deep.
Rubik's cube.
She's sometimes referred to as deep throat, but she's yeah,
Well, we're not going to get into that.
yeah, we're not going to. But you
Well,
get
I,
well,
I
because
just knew you were gonna say something about time.
well
I just knew.
because it's the wound in her neck. That's why they call her. She's nicknamed that. She's like the second in command. Then you got Chatterer, the one that has the gums exposed.
yeah, but
But
notice
Oh yeah,
I noticed on IB IB, when you look at the cast, the IMBD website,
yeah,
IMDb.
yeah, that
Internet Movie Database.
they put they put the lead Cenobite. They don't even call him Pinhead. Lead
no, they don't
Cenobite.
because
They
that's
call
not
him
what he was
lead
originally.
Cenobite.
That's not what he was.
Right.
Yeah, he
But
was.
I've always referred to him, and I think everybody else has, and they probably did in the second movie though, as Pinhead.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hmm.
Then, like I said,
Yeah. So yeah,
one with the exposed gums was Chatterer, which was like the enforcer of the group, and then the other, and then the fourth, the one with the glass is kind of a weird name, but he was known as Butterball, who was
yep,
he was considered the torturer of the group.
Wasn't that the
Oh,
name
that's
of a
right.
boxer?
yeah.
Butterball.
So
Think so, yeah.
oh here, Blue Moth. I wanted to respond to you. Yes, this is a pretty good one. Yeah, it's definitely
Oh,
one of
you
Clive Barker's best.
haven't seen this one, Blue? Oh, you don't know what you're missing.
You have to watch the whole Hellraiser series, really. I mean,
Well,
especially the first two or three. I mean, they're key.
yeah. After that, it kind of goes to hell like
Well,
most
I mean
movies.
that's the way it was with horror movies in the '80s and the
I
'90s. Like
know.
it's like three was the mecca for all of them, including Nightmare on Elm
Right.
Street, because that was
Well, four was
Yeah.
pretty much, I would say, the last true best one because that was also the last one that
Mhm.
had Clive Barker's actual involvement with it. After
Right.
that, he was no longer involved. So the
Right.
first two will always be the best. The second two, they're still good, but not as good as the first two. But after four, and that which also was I almost forgot, which also was the last Hellraiser movie that was released also theatrically. The rest of them were released to video. And yeah,
sorry.
they
Braxton,
just
I
kind of
know
went downhill afterwards.
What is it, Tom?
that.
What's so
Braxton's last comment. I was just
what?
what the hell?
You know, as Tom had once said, because he's asking that, and so was Lois. You know what? We're not even gonna go down that. It's gonna sound really, really
Oh my God.
17 sounding. So yeah, we're not gonna. Anyways,
Yeah. Yeah, but here, let me look up the pictures of the Cenobites, just to show everybody what we're referring to. Hang on.
yeah,
The most iconic, the most iconic of them all is obviously Pinhead. Let me just pull that up.
We have
obviously him
such
being the leader,
sights to show you.
For you,
obviously being the leader of the
your
group.
suffering will be legendary, even in
Yeah.
hell. So
Yep.
many great
Here, let me
lines
just
came out of that
open
movie.
that up. Yeah, the share screen feature on this thing is ridiculous.
Don't start, Braxton.
Hey, listen. Who doesn't?
I mean, I don't know. What are you
Yeah,
gonna do?
I don't know. I don't know.
Here, so here we have Pinhead. This is like the leader of the Cenobites, and he is played by.
Doug
Let me try to
Bradley.
remember his name. Doug Bradley. Yes, Doug
Yeah.
Bradley.
Well,
He played Pinhead from the first film until the eighth movie, we being Hellraiser Hellworld.
That's correct.
Jesus.
Yep.
They
Oh,
had
And
they had
then
8 movies, really?
in 8 movies. And
and this is
female Cenobite,
open throat, also known as deep throat. Yes, thank you.
which I don't know if you guys know. I mean, most people don't know this. The actress who played her, that was Clive Barker's cousin.
Yeah, and let's see.
That was his
Here
sister
there was.
cousin.
It was-
Grace
And also,
Kirby.
these people, I've researched these guys, and these creatures were used to be human until they found that puzzle box,
Yes.
and then ended up being turned into Cenobites.
Well,
And
that's why I
this one is
said
yeah, Butterball.
in the
Yeah.
one movie, like they all reverted back to their human form.
yeah,
Like all
yeah.
all
So
four
that
of
was
them.
Butterball. And
Shatterer.
here is Chatterer. Let's pull him up.
Yeah, which
And
that design became very popular.
yes, and I'm wondering if he may or may not have inspired the look of Nemesis from Resident Evil 3.
That's what I kind of wondered. He kind
You
of
know what?
does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry, let me get caught up in the
and the
comments.
band Tool, they use something similar to that too.
Let's see. Do you have Nightbreed on Blu-ray or 4K? No, I don't. I don't have that one.
Yes,
for
I do.
some
Let's watch it
reason-
now.
there you go. I was gonna say for some reason I couldn't see anybody. Now it's changed back.
Okay.
I still
All
say
right,
Nick looks
so-
like he's in like deep sea water with the green.
It's
I don't know.
green.
It looks like terrible night vision.
It does. It kind of. I mean, looking on camera, it does look like I'm actually in night vision.
It looks like
dark.
well, like if you get night vision goggles for off of Wish.
Timu.
Timu.
Or Timu. Yeah, either one.
Purchase it. I love Timu.
Oh man. Oh wow.
Oh,
But,
geez. Rax, some bad news came through the area during the morning. The confirmed tornado on the ground. It's just windy. Oh, it's good to know you're safe, Brax.
Oh my god, I'm sorry.
As Kate would say, ew.
I'm
Yeah. Oh, and
that
also,
just kind of came up.
hope-
I
really
didn't
hope-
mean to bring that up.
also, yeah, I should update you guys. Kate is currently being treated for a reaction to some, I think, antibiotics. I think she
Yeah.
said. So
Yeah, she got the
I'm
wrong
really
antibiotics.
really hoping she's doing okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
She wasn't on my live feed earlier at all. I mean, she might have tuned in, but she wasn't typing. So I
She
had to
said
do my
she was
own
gonna-
moderation, which was easy because I didn't have any trolls tonight, so I was good. So yeah.
She said she was going to try to get back to us as soon as she could. But yeah,
Yeah.
for the time
Wait,
being, she's
what's going on
currently.
with it? Oh wait, something's going on with the screen. Hang on,
What's the matter with the screen?
I have
It
no
looks
idea.
fine here.
It looks fine from where I am, but it says for the past minute and a half the screen has been turning black. It must be some kind of a glitch that happened when I was sharing screen. Hang on.
That's possible. Yeah.
Cancel.
No.
Yeah, but it looks
I have-
fine right here. It's
Yeah. It looked fine
Hmm.
for me. I haven't seen any glitches.
The only thing that I saw, and I was going to say this, was the screen on my side was gray, and it said offline. But Larry, just as I was about to tell you guys that, that's when it came
Here.
back to the main studio.
Let me try something. I know this has never happened before. Hang on.
Yeah, Eve Mux has a history of causing these glitches, but I don't see anything from my side.
Here,
I haven't
let me,
had any
try
problems
that.
with EV Box. I'm just
Okay,
saying.
here. Spotlight, and now disable. Stop the share screen.
Okay, now it's
Let
just
me see if that.
yeah,
Let me see
now
if that fixed it.
Yeah. Now it's just the the full screen of what you were sharing, but it's gone.
yeah, there's not. It's just
What
the
is going on?
here. Give it a
Yeah, so
second because it was like it happened before, but then afterwards the picture came back. So give it just a second.
This is so odd.
Well, there should be an option on your share screen to just like nix it.
Here, let me try. Let's see. Can we try removing it though?
Yeah,
It
that you
should
should.
build. There we
There
go.
you go.
There we go.
Wait, but did that fix the video? Hang on.
Well,
Yeah, I did. I could see all of
Video-
us.
well, we can, but
Oh, here we go.
They see.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was meaning. Yep. So you're good. We're back.
Okay. That was very strange. That's never happened before.
Little technical issue, but that happens every
Okay.
now
Yeah. Let's not do share screen again on this.
and
Anyway, so yeah, like a lot of people like these monsters like really stood out because of their amazing makeup effects that were done on them, and also their outfits really played a theme into this film. They were like dressed up in BDSM, which
Yes,
is like
very.
yeah, like the whole purpose of like the puzzle box is it opens up a dimension to those things, those Cenobites, and they are their purpose is to give people like extreme senses of pleasure and pain.
Yes.
Just
Right.
yeah.
With
So
with no barrier between, really. Like,
And that
Mhm.
puzzle box, when you really, it's basically a type of Pandora's box when you really look at it. And most people don't really know exactly what they're stepping in for when they start solving this Pandora's box, because
Right.
obviously that's when truly all hell breaks loose.
All right, Joe, start opening your box.
Yep.
Oh,
Open the
We're
box,
gonna
Joe.
do this live
chains-
online right now.
Yes, all these chains start coming out.
This
Then
one
and
doesn't open.
Ah, damn it.
Ah, man.
oh, you missed out. You missed out on the best part.
Yeah, I like how
So
the
we're not getting
box.
Pinhead
well,
in
like,
here for an interview. Sorry, people.
no, I was
Not
looking forward
today.
to it.
This
It's
one
like,
might
so
though.
Pinhead. Any recent victims lately?
So what have you been up to? I mean, what's been going on with you lately? I mean, give us
Yeah,
give us an update. You know,
that sounds so much like you could be interviewing him on Tom's World Tom.
or
Wasn't the
Dom
box?
Tom's world.
Yeah, wasn't the box also made from bone and flesh? Well, the way they made it in the movie, like the exterior of it was crafted with bronze, and only one box was made for this film. They had no backup, so whenever the box was like thrown or dropped or anything like that, they had somebody like always catching it every time.
Yeah, you
No.
want this? You want this? Go get it.
Yeah,
Went
but
through the
later
window.
movies they had 3 or 4 of those boxes
Yeah, they did.
because they were sitting on a guy's desk under glass. You saw 2 or 3 of them.
Yep.
Let's see, what sequel do you think is most like the original Hellraiser? Ooh,
2.
The second
Yeah,
one,
Yeah, definitely.
two was the most like the first one,
you
but
kinda
but
picked
only
up where
because
the first
and
one left off.
and I touched on this in my live feed tonight because I was talking about this show, and Nick just kept edging me on to talk about the damn movie.
He did
Oh, I
no
was
such
not
thing.
edging you on. What
He's
are you talking
innocent.
about?
But like it's very similar in the fact that what's her name, Julia. She
No,
comes back in the very same way that Frank comes back in the
Kirsty.
first one.
It's Kirsty.
Pretty much. Yeah, Kirsty and
No,
the actress
Kirsty is the
Oh,
daughter.
It was
Julia,
No, that's the
Julia
daughter.
is the girlfriend.
Yeah,
it was
Julia. Yeah,
Julia and
Julia.
Yeah. Jewel. Okay, I'm thinking of
Don't
okay, you're
try to
right,
mess me
Julia.
up,
she didn't
man.
really come back the
I'll
same
come mess
way
you up,
because
man.
she came back. If
Yeah,
I'm
come on,
not
man.
mistaken, she came back because of blood on the mattress or something.
Right. She
Yep,
came
pretty much.
the same way
And
that Frank came back.
his was his brother's blood spilled on that
On the floor.
attic room floor.
Yeah.
So it wasn't exactly the same way.
Well, I mean, it was more similar than
Yeah, it was
the
very
other.
similar.
Yeah, I can see
know.
that.
And
And
it wasn't even
like,
in the same house anymore.
Well,
Yep.
but
Yeah.
the same door was in that movie. Like
Yeah.
that front door with the stained glass on it, that was in the second one. Like when
yeah.
when
Oh, here,
when-
Bloodlines.
I'm
Oh.
sorry, guys.
Okay, I haven't seen Bloodlines. I have seen 1 and 2. That's all I've seen for Hellraiser. I got to see more of them if we're gonna keep.
The third and fourth ones are good. They're not as good as the first two, but they still stay up there because again, a Clive Barker's. Oh, that's the other thing too. From Hellraiser 3 and beyond, unlike this is another reason why they really stand out from the first two, was that when they started making Hellraiser 3 and beyond, it was no longer a combination of both, because the first two were basically both a British and American film. And
Right.
when they made 3 and beyond, it was just focused here in the US. It was no longer a British production after that. If in fact, if you really notice, obviously, you hear, people obviously with that British accent and stuff. Well, you don't hear that anymore beyond, again, from 3 to beyond.
Well, it was British, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it was.
Yeah.
I've only watched up to the fourth one.
The original movie was made with £1 million.
It was. I saw it. I saw it.
Too bad the third one
here.
was filmed in Philly. No?
Any order in particular to watch it? I would say watch it in order.
Yeah,
I
no,
think
definitely.
that's,
1, 2, 3. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, I'm not
I
sure
mean,
if there's like prequels.
I mean,
No,
I know
there's
that there
some
are-
horror movies that you can
Exactly
watch.
but here's the thing. The other thing some fans speculate, like when they compare from the first to the fourth films, some people actually consider Hellraiser 3 from that point forward as basically almost like a different franchise, because when you look at the first two movies, Pinhead and the Cenobites were, when you really think they weren't really, well, the first one most of, I mean, they were more on the second. They weren't really a huge focus like in the throughout most of the movie. You
Oh
saw
no, because in the first one it was Frank was the big focus, and
he
in the
was the
second
big
one it was
focus.
Julia.
Yeah, Frank was the big focus. We did see the
And Julia
Cenobites in the
was
beginning, but we really didn't truly see them until about halfway into the movie. And then once you got to the
Right.
second, they had a more they were more frequently showing up, and
Well, yeah, and
because
you
of
got to see their dimension too,
yeah,
which
Oh, yeah.
was
but because of the success and the center, I mean, attention surrounding Pinhead, that's when he became the main focus from the third movies onwards, which is why they didn't really include the other three Cenobites, even though a lot of fans would have liked it.
no, they
And
were there. They were there.
no, they weren't. They weren't there after the second movie, because Pinhead kind of does have a different mentality from
Well,
three.
but
Three.
like the one I said where they showed their former human.
Well, that was in the second one, but
Right.
but the third one, ironically, they do actually give more background to just Pinhead's background.
Right.
in the third one, there
And,
was definitely a couple of them in there,
There were new
Like-
Cenobites.
like the chopper one, and like because he was in like a few of them.
yeah.
Well, Shatterer, yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily the same Shatterer, but it was a similar character.
I mean, come on, you're splitting hairs now. I mean,
I
I
don't know what to do.
mean, it was the same character.
Yeah.
Oh, here. I wanted to bring up this comment here. It's funny I was going to bring up Maximum Overdrive, Sniper. See,
That was
like when
Emilio Estevez, wasn't it?
yeah, when Clive Barker was like disappointed with like his work and being adapted to film, he was like, you know what, I'm gonna write and direct. I'm gonna do this myself. That's how it. But like when he was like writing, like Stephen King actually claimed Clive Barker was like the new face of horror. Like he loved his work, and so Clive Barker has also done a great job with making his own movies based on his own work, which is more than I could say for Stephen King when he at one time directed a movie based on his work, and that was Maximum Overdrive, the
Yeah.
one and only Stephen King himself directed. And
That's pretty insane.
That was the truck that had like the Green Goblin face on the front.
Yep.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
I
Maximum
actually
Overdrive
saw
was
that in the theaters.
That
with
was
my
a good
grandpa.
movie.
yeah. I mean, it was all right for what it was. I just consider it more silly than scary.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well,
but
I
do
mean,
like how it
that
had
sums up the '80s horror films. I mean,
Yeah.
really.
I mean,
Yeah, so it had
Machine
Charlie
was
Sheen-
taking over.
Yeah. So yeah, like you said, it had Charlie Sheen's brother, Emilio Estevez, and I like how it had Yardley Smith just a few years before she would begin her role as Lisa Simpson.
You know,
Oh my God! Really?
that
Oh my
movie
God.
though also kind of predicted the future in a way, because technology is taking over the world at the
It
moment.
is.
I mean,
Oh,
look,
yeah.
when you go to the grocery store with a self checkout, hey, I should be getting paid for that shit when I go to the
Yeah, right.
grocery store
I
to
am
check
doing
myself
somebody
out.
else's job and
Right,
I'm paying the store prices for it. Like, what the
right.
hell?
But
Hey,
I
Thomas.
mean, it's taken over, but in a
Oh,
different
who
way.
just showed up? Chris.
Hey, Chris.
How you doing?
Hey, been a
Hey.
while.
Oh,
I'm
How you
awake.
feeling? How you feeling?
Oh, thanks for joining, Tony.
That's good.
Good.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's good to see you back.
yeah, it's great to have you on here, man.
man, this is the first time I saw you on a live feed in a long time, man.
Yeah,
We missed you.
self-driving cars.
Self-driving vehicles. Yeah.
Yeah, they got
Yeah,
that
so pretty
now,
much-
too.
Yeah, pretty much Teslas. Yeah, but
Yeah.
here. This Simon brings up a good comment. I thought Hellraiser was called Hellride. Well, when Hellraiser was being adapted to film, like it was based on Clive Barker's like novella, the Hellbound Heart.
Yep. Hellbound Heart.
But yes, but wanted that the studio wanted that changed because they thought that Hellbound Heart would make the movie sound like a romantic. You know.
Yeah, no,
But,
Hellraiser has much
Yeah,
better.
but-
of a-
But Clive Barker does claim that in some way Hellraiser kind of is a romantic film, just like a dark take on it. I mean, where Julie just is sacrificing men to restore the man that she loves.
Right.
So in
Brother,
some
the
twisted
brother of the
way,
man she married.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I mean, you talk
She's not a
about
slut at all. I swear to God. Just saying.
No, but Frank, however, was definitely a deviant. I mean,
Yeah,
He
he
was
was a
a bad
criminal.
boy. He
the
was a
guy,
bad
the
boy.
guy,
I get it.
I mean, the guy had a figurine of of a couple getting intimate.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
He
I
was
mean,
It's,
also a
detail.
criminal. I mean, he would kill anyone that
yeah, but
crossed.
wasn't that also
he
a
was.
pipe, if I remember
You
right?
know
I
what?
think
It looked. It did definitely look like a pipe. I will say that, and I thought the same thing when I was watching it again tonight. I was like, "Oh my God, is that a bowl? What the hell?"
Yeah, I
But
was watching it this morning, but
it
I had
doesn't.
occupational therapy come in, and
Yeah, it doesn't
so
really look like a bowl. It just looks more like a statue. Like the more I looked
yeah,
at it,
it was like a little figurine. Yeah.
but you could definitely see the
Oh,
penis of the one going inside the other one. I'm just saying.
oh my god.
Well, listen,
Yeah.
I
So
didn't make the damn thing. I'm just commenting on it. You know?
Can't argue, as Rick would
no,
say,
3D
can't
printed
argue
meat
with that.
with the
Yeah,
no-
yeah, you can't.
wait, 3D printed meat? What?
What?
Yes.
No way.
Yeah,
Come
it's
on.
like flavored. Yeah. Yeah. I was
Flavored
reading about it while I
plastic.
was in the
You
hospital.
know?
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah,
That's
I will not
crazy.
eat 3D printed meat.
Head on my was like, oh my god.
I
Lame.
want to eat beef and pork.
Oh Jesus Christ. Okay, but oh I
You
I
want
just
to eat
forgot something.
meat? Can I go back to your earlier comment?
Oh, what's your earlier comment?
About
There were many.
eating meat.
Oh,
well,
Oh my god. But
listen, you
yeah,
know,
I forgot to bring this up earlier. So yeah, we've already covered Clive Barker film before, or adaptation. It was Candyman, and I will say this: the reason why I bring this up is because I watched the Academy Awards, and I was disappointed that in the memoriam where they go over all the actors and actresses and or anybody who worked in film in Hollywood
yeah.
had passed away. Tony Todd was not shown there.
See, this
wow,
is why I don't, to be honest with you, this is why I don't watch the Oscars. I don't watch them because they don't remember certain figures, especially in the horror film industry. And I'm sorry, but it just, I just lost respect for it. So I
well,
didn't watch it the other night.
the problem is in all of these award shows, it doesn't matter if it's music, movies, whatever. Things have become so political in them, and if they find out that somebody voted for somebody that they didn't like or they support somebody they didn't like, they don't talk about them, and it's stupid
yeah, it's
because
that
like
way.
all actors, all singers, everything, they should all be honored, you know.
It's even
And
Yeah,
that way in
really.
wrestling now. Again, you know,
like what
they,
I mean, Robert
they
De Niro came out and said the same thing he said 4 or 5 years ago when he came out for the. It's just like, dude, just stop making these things political. Just do them for what they are. You know, like
Yep.
for the Oscars, for the Emmys, for this or that. Like whether it's music, movies, TVs, or whatever. Like just focus on that. Don't bring politics into shit, and that's the biggest problem of the world right now. Is
Yep.
everything is central around politics. Who you voted for, who you support. Whatever. It's stupid. And everybody needs to just stop this and just
yeah,
start loving everybody. Just live life
yeah.
and
Everybody
love.
love everybody.
Just live life and love and
Yeah.
stuff
You
because
know,
there's nothing that we can do or say.
oh,
There's nothing we can put up on our Facebooks or our Instagrams or whatever that's going to matter for anything. Just stop and live life and be
and
who
it's
you
like
are.
somebody
That's
once said that like hate, all that hate is like a useless
There's so much
emotion
hate.
because it's just a waste of time.
There's so much hate right now.
You
Like
Yep.
know,
There is.
people are unfriending people. People are
you
leaving
know,
their family members and stuff like that for stupid shit, and it just needs it.
Yeah.
Just stop.
you use more energy hating people than you do liking and accepting them for who
Yes.
they are.
Just live life,
Yeah.
be happy, love your family, love your friends, and move on
and
with life.
accept people for who they are.
Yes.
What
It's
difference
that
does it
simple.
make? It's their choice.
It's that simple, but nobody can do it.
Yep.
We all.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Anyway,
Tony
so
All
yeah, I
right.
was gonna say,
Anyway,
Tony
so
Todd, yeah, he
so
should've-
anyway,
So it's funny,
Hellraiser.
yeah,
yeah, I forgot. I wanted to mention the effects in this.
Mm.
Let's see, the effects on this were, I thought, way amazing, especially like when Frank was like shown each stage of his regeneration
Yes.
after he
yeah.
had absorbed the blood from
I
somebody,
mean,
and those effects were done by, I looked them up. It was done by Cliff Wallace, who had done effects for other films like 28 Days Later, Hellboy 2: The Golden Army, and also
Wow.
he also co-created a short horror film that I saw on that I did a reaction video to for Crypt TV years ago, and it's something that Crypt TV actually reached out to me about. No lie.
Really?
wow.
Yeah, here.
One please video that I made about a couple months back, and they said always up for more of these. And yeah, they're right. I need to check out more of their videos because these are they're really fun to watch. And so I said, sure thing. I'm thinking about checking out The Birch, another one of their short horror films. And they said it's one of our best. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna take their word on that and check out The Birch. Got the video loaded up right here. So
Yeah.
and let's
Yeah, so it's true. Years ago, they reached out to me and just wanted me to just react to more of their work, and I had been doing that.
I
Yeah,
gotta
I
ask,
mean,
man, how old is that? How old is that clip of you?
That video
Yeah.
this is 6 years ago.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, so 2019.
Actually, it's getting closer.
I
Actually, it's
mentioned
getting closer to
earlier.
7 years ago.
Oh, so
I mentioned
2000.
earlier as we were talking before the live feed started that, like, I mean, it's apparent now when we watch these movies that it's like a reverse uh like a clip of when Frank is coming up and he's like he gets his arm up and everything like that, and you can see like his body forming and everything. It's obviously like a reverse film of something
Yeah,
melting.
or something
But-
melting like wax.
but it's still a very, very cool clip.
Yeah,
It
it
was.
is.
Yeah, I like the.
At the
Yeah,
time,
in that particular scene, I loved the effect. I loved the music
Yeah.
from that scene where he was like originally regenerating because, yeah, for those who haven't seen it, what was his name? Larry? Yeah, the Larry who was the
Larry.
dad of Christy. Of
Cur-
Kirsty,
Cur-
yeah, so Larry, he was helping move a mattress up the stairs, and then cut his hand on a nail. You know, he was
Oh, that was
bleeding like crazy,
painful to
going
look
up to
at,
the
like, ow.
He's like,
going
oh,
up
I
to the
haven't looked
attic.
at it yet.
Going up to the attic room where Julie was. Where Frank
Julia.
had died, where Frank had or not died, where he opened the puzzle box and like encountered the Cenobites where they killed him, and then his blood is what resurrected Frank, and so that set everything in motion.
Yeah.
And that's what
Yeah,
eventually
but-
also
but
that's
even-
what also drew the Cenobites' attention too.
But even when he was like a little torso basically and everything, like I still think that the effects were pretty cool.
well,
Yeah.
yeah, I thought it was pretty cool too because I kind of liked how when he was just starting to come out of the wood, and stuff
Yeah.
and form, and you saw his skeleton, you saw that little piece, that's neck, and
Yeah.
it kind
And
of
then
crawled
connected to the brain.
Yeah,
Right.
And
They-
that was
jeez.
that was
Well,
definitely
it's like-
reverse footage.
I mean, you
I
could
mean,
clearly
but-
see like when you first
yeah,
see
but it was
very,
still
like,
cool.
nothing but
No, it definitely
he's literally-
was.
I mean, like before his transformation, it's like he was literally nothing more than just bones and a couple of organs, and
Yeah.
that was it.
Right.
A couple little feelers coming out like
Right,
Oh,
right.
yeah, Billy. The effects were done
Surprised
by.
you watched the movie. There was cockroaches in there too.
Oh God,
Yeah.
I forgot about
Billy. The effects were done by Cliff Wallace, and I've watched some of his work in the past. So he's done some pretty good stuff, especially for Crypt TV with the Birch. Yeah, love watching that, and again, it was awesome seeing Crypt TV themselves reaching out to me for more. So. But yeah, this movie, Hellraiser definitely did have a bug and a rat fetish because it showed like cockroaches and crickets getting it, or maggots. Sorry, not crickets,
Maggots.
maggots.
Well, he did
Yeah,
show crickets too.
inside
The
of old
guy, the
food.
guy in
Inside
the
of old
shop
food.
ate the crickets. And,
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
that was sick.
you know, some people
Yeah,
are
but
saying
some
that.
people do that because some people consider that a delicacy.
well, it's protein.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, there are.
in
And there's
Australia,
actually some people who said the guy that the person that played the homeless dude. Supposedly, there's rumors that are going around that was actually Clive Barker himself, but I think Clive Barker has said that was not him. That was somebody else.
oh, it was just a rumor then. Okay,
Yeah,
but
I don't think he actually
yeah.
played that role. Like, he would have admitted it if he did.
And I wanted to mention, like, the whole cricket thing. It actually is a delicacy in Australia. They actually do have chocolate covered crickets.
If
Oh, yeah.
we had
Yeah.
Robert and Nikki here, they would confirm that.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
What's up, Tom?
you can get chocolate covered ants here in America.
Oh
You
god.
know, it sounds, you know what? That sounds like a Philly.
yeah.
You can get chocolate covered cockroaches.
Hey Nick,
That
I've said it before.
That guy that you were talking about, the homeless guy,
The Emerite, yeah.
he was they've got him under the credits as a derelict, and he was credited by Frank Baker was credited as playing him.
Oh, okay, okay. What were you gonna say, Don? By the way,
Oh yeah, I was. Let's see. I don't know.
it was
What were
something
you
I
gonna
was
say,
saying.
by the
Tom,
way?
dude. You said you were gonna say something, but then Joe said something.
Oh, let's see. Let me scroll up to the comments. Yeah, no, I forgot what I was gonna say.
Yeah, it'll come back.
Yeah, so like, yeah, there were scenes where the cockroaches and maggots covering like old rotted food inside of the house. Like, it should be mentioned that Frank, when he was alive before he had like the puzzle box, he lived like an absolute slob. You know, on
Yeah,
top
he
of
did.
being on top of being a sexual deviant, he was an utter slob. His whole play,
was a
everywhere he
squatter.
went, there was a mess.
He was a squatter, basically.
Yeah, he was squatting
Well,
in
he was.
his old family house. Yeah. You get fried scorpions. Oh man.
Oh
I don't-
God,
Okay,
that
I don't know
I will
about that.
not eat that. I'm good.
Vanilla covered roaches, Nick.
Nope, I'm good.
And
Nope, he only likes the
rattlesnakes
chocolate covered
and-
ones.
I'm not.
Oh man, yeah.
Again, like as you said, Tom, and you
He would never know if you just gave him a chocolate.
as like you
covered.
said in one of your videos in Sylvester Stallone's voice, I'd be like, I'm not gonna do it. I can't. Just be live.
Listen, I mean, you can't do the voice. I mean,
Yeah,
I mean,
you're-
you try really hard to do the voice. But
I just remembered. I just remember what I was gonna say, Nick. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I'm pretty sure if better hope that Sylvester Stallone never watches this because I'm pretty sure he's not gonna appreciate you mocking his speech impediment.
I mean, I mean, when he watches this,
I mean,
he's gonna say,
again, like,
listen,
I
he's
mean,
gonna say,
now I gotta ask. I mean, now, why would he be watching your show?
no, look,
You never know.
Well, I mean, look,
Hey,
you got a
hey,
guy,
hey,
you
put
got
it
a
on
guy
credit.
from Philly on your show. So I mean, he might watch it. He might not watch it. I don't know, but he'll be like, listen, that guy Nick, he doesn't know what the hell he's doing. I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, that guy Tom, he's got it. He's got the Philly accent. I mean, maybe it's because he's from Philly. I don't know. I mean, that might be it. I'm just saying.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Oh my
No, ain't nobody gonna do what they gotta do.
Oh my god, you seen this?
I was
Roach
watching-
insects movies.
Yeah.
Oh, gross!
Oh wait, I got one. There was a video that went viral years ago that I watched from this. They used to be a couple. They're not together anymore. This couple that did pranks on each other. They were called Prank versus Prank. That lived in Philly. And their names were Jesse and Gina. And one of the biggest things that Gina has always hated was bugs. And so Jesse bought these what was it? Not cockroaches, crickets that are edible crickets, like taste like onion. And he put one inside of her meatball. He put one inside of her meatball when they had like spaghetti meatballs.
Oh
Here.
God, no!
Prepare,
Oh no!
prepare to laugh.
Oh, we're gonna have to watch it. What?
Nick.
That's a stereotypical Philly girl.
She was
That's how they get them filmed.
she, she was pissed.
That's a good time to make that
Oh.
what type sound.
She was so pissed.
Oh, I'm sure she was. I don't blame her.
I would be too. I don't want onion flavored fucking or freaking.
And well,
cricket.
hey, she got him back in all sorts of crazy ways. One of them involving a snake because he's definitely afraid of snakes.
Oh,
Yeah. But
Eating snake is good.
Snakes.
what's wrong?
Snakes are cool. Hey, oh, as
Rattlesnakes?
Bud I would say snakes are cool.
no, they're not.
They
No,
taste
they're
good too.
What?
I need
Disgusting.
to go grab another beer. Real quick. I'll be right back.
Eating snake? No way. Oh, or unless you're watching like that scene from Indiana Jones Temple of Doom, the snake surprise.
Snake. Why is it got to be
Yeah.
snakes?
Yeah. Like lots of people
No, I
actually
just-
point out that lots of people actually point out that dinner scene, referring to it as culturally insensitive, like since it's like poking fun of Indian delicacy.
Oh,
Yeah, but I just want to throw that out there. But anyway, but it's delicious though. Oh, yeah. Some people say I should try alligator, like or no, well, like Braxton was telling me before, like yesterday when I was on the live stream that alligator's a delicacy. But I'm like,
Yeah, they
I
are.
don't know. I like alligators, but then again, I do like cows, and we eat those anyway.
Yeah, that's a
Right.
pretty big popular thing down in Louisiana. And then, of course,
Okay.
and in fact, we used to have somebody that we don't work with anymore, but not necessarily food. It was just kind of more of like a trophy or something. He was selling alligator heads.
I mean, that is popular in the South. You know,
Yeah,
like
it is.
celebrating
yeah,
stuff.
they
He was
got
selling. He was selling alligator heads.
They even
Right.
got alligator boots too.
I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they do.
Yeah, they
So-
do.
Did you had alligator, Joe?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you
I've had
who's your
all
favorite.
kinds You know, I've had all kinds of weird stuff because where I went to school, they did a thing for a whole year where you had to try different foods from around the world. And if you refused without getting a permission slip from your parents, you got an F
F.
Oh,
for the
geez.
day. So
Man.
I've tried some weird shit from around all kinds of, all kinds of countries.
So what were you going to ask, John?
Yeah, I was gonna ask what everybody's favorite Cenobite was, but I'm pretty sure everybody's gonna say Pinhead. So
I actually
Yeah.
liked the female Cenobite because again, she was the second in command. And you know, it's interesting if you notice too, she's the only one that also, aside from Pinhead, that speaks. And neither does Chatterer or Butterball. Although I found out, interestingly, that originally all four of them were supposed to talk, but the actor who played Chatterer, obviously because his gums were so extended, it made it almost impossible for him to speak. So they just left him wordless. And then Butterball, in the other case, the teeth that they put into his mouth, it made it very hard for him to speak. It gave like these weird slurs, like when he was talking. So that, as a result,
Kinda like Bloodhead.
they also had to silence him too. So that's why only Pinhead and the female Cenobites speak.
right. So yeah, each one of them had like a very unique look to them. And like yeah, so yeah, Butterball was the obese one, and Chatterer. Well, technically, Chatterer actually does talk, but only in like these like that. That's the only way it
Yeah.
talks.
Hey,
That's why he's called Chatter, because he's chattering his teeth.
Yep. And like I said, it may or may not have inspired the design for Nemesis and Resident Evil. I mean, I can kind of see it.
well, yeah.
You can make the argument, huh?
Oh, here, fried alligator balls, and he.
Oh,
Alligator, just an alligator meat
alligator
rolled
balls.
up in a spear. Okay, I figured that's what you meant, Braxton.
Yeah, that's what I kind of figured too.
Yeah, but me and Tom are here, so.
You said alligator balls.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
I've encountered an alligator in the wild before. I don't know if I told you guys.
Did you see his balls?
I know this story.
Yeah, I was 12 years old. I was in Florida, Sarasota. I was at a pond where there actually was a wild alligator living in that community. Like, I guess they were supposed to get rid of it, but they just couldn't find it. I threw a stick in the water, and it just went up and just gnawed on it.
Holy
wow.
crap.
It must have thought it was food, which indicates that people had been feeding that thing.
Yep.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
All the
Okay.
disappearing puppies, you know where they went.
Yeah, yeah. I was about to say, you sure it seems nice to feed it in the wild, but then it feeds on your dogs.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Or
Yeah,
you.
so
Yep.
Yeah, or
or
you.
or some little kid. Yeah, yeah. It's like, don't get me wrong, I like alligators, but not the best kind of wild pet. Yeah,
Yeah.
not the best thing to.
No,
Yeah,
no, no.
as they learned in Lake Placid. Well, I mean, it was crocodile Lake Placid. I mean, but anyway. So, yeah, like that. I like the
Said he
house
liked
was
it.
actually like a very creepy environment. Like they made it the house just creepy from beginning to end. It was like, oh man, deteriorating and my
But
God,
they
like it
did
was,
even though in the second movie, the house wasn't a factor. They did use that door
Yeah, they did.
in the second
yeah,
movie, right? Like I mean that door with the stained
Yeah.
glass
oh
on
yeah,
it and
Yep.
everything.
hmm
So I mean, they
right,
did make a reappearance of sorts.
Another thing to point out too, I'm surprised we haven't talked about, like, in addition to like what you were just saying, Don, about the Cenobites, like how they have, a different appearance from one another. Let's not forget also they were not the only inhabitants of hell. There was also the monster that unfortunately only got to saw twice. There was that monster that
Yeah,
tried
yeah.
chasing.
That monster that had like the head that was like down on the
Yeah, it was
bottom.
down had the like a
oh
scorpion
Yeah, like
tail.
a scorpion's tail kind
Yeah,
of
Yeah,
well,
thing
that
going
that
on.
was simply referred to as the engineer.
engineer. Yeah, I thought that was like the worst monster of the whole film. It looked pretty cheesy,
Yeah,
and also when you look at certain points of it, if you look at the low and like on the floor, you could see like the cart that was being used to push it,
yep. When they were
to push
showing
to push the
he's
animatronic.
chasing Kirsty, yeah.
push. Yeah, real good.
Yeah.
And they say basically that in spite that it's in the same realm, it's not considered a Cenobite itself. It's in a way, and hence the name the engineer is that it basically creates some of the weapons that the Cenobites carry. So in a way, it
Mm.
really, when you really look at it, and it's also, and yes, despite of its appearance, I think they said part of it was originally human. So you can kind of say this was probably the oldest being of any type to have lived in hell, and in a way is kind of like not only just the OG, but more importantly, it's kind of almost like a leader in a way.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah,
it's almost like a
it
I can
high.
was
kind of see that.
it was kind of like a precursor of the second movie, the doctor
Oh
that
yeah,
died.
Mhm.
Like it was like a precursor to him.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, I mean, that thing definitely had been around before the Cenobites, because when you think about it, the Cenobites were originally human, but once they've toyed around that backs, they were chosen to be turned into
Yeah.
Cenobites. You know,
Oh
like
yeah.
in a way, when you really
but
look back at the in each Cenobite's history, you could tell that these were people that probably lived within the past 100 years at least. Because, like I said,
probably.
with Pinhead's background, it dates back to around World War One.
Yeah.
And either way, it almost goes for I'm almost 100 years, I should say, probably at least the last 80 years, I would say. But the engineer,
Probably.
on the other hand, though, it's probably existed for thousands of years.
I mean, it might be
Yeah,
80
probably.
now, but like back when the movie was made, it was more like 30. You
Yeah, let me look at. Let me
know.
pull up
I'm just
engineer.
I don't
saying.
know about that.
Here, looking up the engineer, just to give you guys an idea of what this thing looks like.
Junction,
It's
junction.
the one thing I noticed most importantly were its
Yeah.
eyes that change. It has these cat-like eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
you can't see
Yeah.
it right here. Let me see if I pull up a better
Like the
picture of
pupils,
the eye.
like kind
Oh,
of
here we go.
opened up like that.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
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 Would have been
I
interesting.
don't trust the screen share, so that's why I'm doing it through the phone.
I often wonder what it would have been like because you only saw the engineer separate from the Cenobites, and almost makes you wonder what would have been what it would have looked like if you had the Cenobites and the engineer together in one room or something like that. But then again, I could see why they couldn't include, in this case, all five entities because, like I said, unlike the Cenobites that were played by actors, the engineer was like a mechanical
Yeah.
type. I mean,
Yeah.
it was
And
yeah.
I
So
doubt
that's
they had
probably why they didn't include the engineer with the Cenobites then.
and I don't think they had the budget to include them all in the same scene without because the engineer was like I said, was a pretty cheesy effect
Not
Well,
only
yeah.
that,
compared to
it just
compared
would
to everything else in the film.
well, not only that, considering its huge size, I mean, it probably also would have been difficult to fit it in the same room, and who knows how heavy that probably was. So it probably would have.
Well,
In other words, it would have just been too time consuming.
I don't think it would have been
Probably.
that heavy, like to operate and everything. I mean, the thing was probably like it was up off of the ground about like what, like 4 or 5 feet.
Yeah, about
Or,
three or
well,
four.
we'll say we'll take 3 or 4 feet.
I was gonna say at least 3 or
Probably.
4 feet off the ground.
That was where the head was, and then it went up and around. So it was probably about like I don't know, like 6 feet tall.
Yeah, at least.
Hmm. Yeah, could have been, but it's like. Yeah, and also like I wanted to ask, what are your guys' favorite scene in this film? Because there were a lot of disturbing ones.
I actually, my favorite scene was like when
Scene?
Frank was at the point where he could actually put clothes on. Like it was around
Yeah.
that time, and he was becoming more alive, more human, I guess.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he started smoking.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
You said
I
wrong.
could totally see you doing that, Tom.
Who, me? No.
Yeah.
I would never do it.
Yeah, of course you would. You know that.
No, not me.
Yeah.
Never.
It's like, yeah, it's also heavy. It's also I believe it's also implied that that Frank was just kept on going through like he was in serious pain because he didn't have skin. So imagine like
Right.
having no
Well,
skin
yeah,
on your feet and just walking.
your nerves are
Yeah.
exposed.
Well,
it
and he was going
Yeah.
through all the stages, like where now I can
Yeah.
feel my nerves, and now
yeah,
I can
so it
feel
probably
this.
hurts like hell.
Yeah, I imagine it hurt like hell for him to even move. I mean, think about it. You have no skin on your feet, so you're walking around, you're feeling all that on your feet. Oh man,
That's
seriously,
basically
that
like
was
when you're at your most vulnerable. Let's
pretty
just
much.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. And Nick would
Yeah.
know because he's been there.
Yeah.
Well,
There's only
well.
one.
Oh my
All
god.
right.
What's that,
Well,
Chris?
you prompted me to do it, so I.
So and and
I
also
got-
to be and yeah, so I'm trying to remember that. Let's see. I'm trying to remember that one scene.
I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, where Julia like brings the first victim home. Like it makes it seem like like the guy's gonna it makes it seem like the guy's gonna score, but nope. Julia just brought him there to hit him with the hammer. Like that's the one murder weapon that she has, a hammer. But the
Yeah,
first
that
time
was
that she
really-
did it, yeah, yeah. So, but anyway, the first time that she did it, it was like the most like impactful scene where like as far
Yeah.
as the killings go, because like Claire Higgins really sold that scene with the "oh my god, I actually killed somebody"
Yeah.
like acting.
But then
Yeah.
by the second or third one, it's like, oh wow.
You know,
Yeah, it's like, I'm used to it now. I'm bringing my lover back. I'm
Yeah.
making him.
They
I'm
could have used
making him regrow his skin.
They could have used something other than a hammer, though. You know,
Yeah, she
they
could.
could have switched it up. A hammer for
Well-
the first one, maybe a crowbar for the second one.
Well, at the
Always
very
something
least,
to hide. Maybe a baseball bat in there.
at the very least, you could have turned the hammer around and used a claw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
That
just-
could.
I
could've
thought
been
that
effective,
myself. Like whenever she was
Hey,
hitting
Jeremy.
them
Jeremy.
with
Hey,
the blunt,
Jeremy.
when she was hitting them with the blunt and the hammer,
Right.
it's like turn it around, use the claw.
You know,
you'll
I
mess
would've
with
Nothing
their
wrong with
brain.
hitting a blunt. Come on, Tom.
I can't believe I'm about
Yeah.
to say this. But Chris, you guys are going to definitely like this. That's probably the extreme version of, damn it, Beavis. I thought we were going to score.
Oh yeah.
Jesus. And I just looked up Claire Higgins to see if I had recognized her or anything more recent. And the most recent thing she was in was playing a bit part in Ready Player One.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
she played the main guy's neighbor in the opening scene.
Oh, my God. How did I miss that? She was just
Wait a
trying
minute.
Yeah, it was
There was
it was
a
brief.
lot going on in that movie.
Oh yeah, I love Ready Player
So
One.
many Easter eggs, and I still keep finding more.
Yeah, Don showed that to me too. There's a lot of Easter eggs, and I still haven't caught up to every single one of them.
Wait, I just thought of something. What if the puzzle box had been used in the Oasis in Ready Player One? And like
They
you know how
should
they
have.
like, you know, like, all
There you
sorts of
go.
different weapons.
They should have
like, would the
incorporated a
Ceno-
lot more horror.
Good thinking.
yeah, would the Cenobites have worked alongside them to take down the Sixers?
Throwing
They,
out the chains with the hooks on them.
listen,
Yeah, exactly.
imagine Pinhead in a cart for like Mario Kart. Like,
Yeah. Well, hey, they brought Chucky into it, so why
Yeah,
not?
I was
Yeah,
just
he
gonna
did.
say. Remember how they reacted when Chucky got thrown out of the DeLorean?
Oh, let's not forget Freddy Krueger too.
Yeah.
well, I mean,
And Jason.
can't
I saw
forget
Jason
Freddy.
there too.
Jason too. Yeah.
Yeah, I just love all those references in that film. Like all those Easter eggs, and I recognized just about all of them.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
every time you watch, you're gonna find a new one or two.
Yep. Yes, you do.
And
And
I
also they
love
had The
that.
Shining in it. So.
I love that.
That
No, I
was-
love that movie
awesome.
because of my
True.
age. You know, I know a lot of that stuff. I had a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, me too.
You know, I grew up with some of that stuff.
Me too.
Yeah.
Well, Tom.
Same.
I mean, I am 50.
I was gonna say Tom
right,
grew up with
50.
different type of stuff.
I'm actually older than 50 now. I'm just saying, you know.
Yeah,
it's
you're
been
35.
it's been a month past
He's
my
over
birthday.
the hill.
I mean, I'm
mean,
not as
Get
old
over
as
the
you.
hill now.
I mean, hey,
Yeah,
I
I'm
mean, you
beyond
are.
that.
I mean, you are 35 in dog years.
And I do live in a van down by the river.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
thought,
and
we,
I went,
thought we upgraded that to a semi truck.
Right.
Listen,
then
I had
sooner or
to
later it's
expand,
going to be
you know?
upgraded to a. Let's be honest. Then sooner or later it's going to be uploaded to a Tesla.
right. And so yeah, we mentioned Chucky. I wanted to mention the actor who had played Frank, or no, it was no, it wasn't Frank. It was
Larry?
Larry. Yeah, Larry. Yeah, I was trying to. Yeah, I sometimes I'm mixing up Frank and Larry. It's ridiculous. But the actor who played Larry in this, Andrew Robinson, he was also in Child's Play 3. He played the Sergeant Botnick, who worked as like the giving everybody all the new recruits the haircuts, and his catchphrase, who had like a pretty messed up like a hair cutting fetish, but yeah, and he was saying every time he cut someone, like gave someone a buzz cut, he said, "Presto, you're bald," and I'm like, you do realize there's a difference between bald and buzz cut, right? I mean, come on, you're a barber.
But that
Really?
that guy was in a lot of movies back then too.
Yeah, it was.
You know, I mean,
Let's see. Oh, I want to look
like
up.
he's one of those guys that like when you see him, like, oh yeah, I know him. He was in Hellraiser or whatever, and it's like
Yeah.
you don't know his name.
Here, I wanted to look up Ashley. I wanted to look up Ashley Lawrence because she had been. This Hellraiser was her feature film debut when she played Kirsty. She's been in a lot of like some of the Hellraiser sequels.
Oh my
I
God.
wonder if
She
she's
was,
done
she
anything
was
else.
kind of annoying in the first movie, I gotta say. It's like, listen, if you weren't such a nosy bitch, you wouldn't have come across the box and all this other shit. You know, I mean, I'm just saying.
You know,
Let's
it's
see what other horror
I've actually. I don't know if I ever told you guys this, but over almost 15 years ago now. Not
I
necessarily.
caught my own mother-in-law coming in with a guy.
What? No, it's nothing like that at all. Anyways, about almost 15 years ago, I actually did see Ashley Lawrence at one of the Flashback Weekend cons.
Oh, did you?
Well, unfortunately, she was among one of those
Ooh.
guests that you had to pay to get a picture or whatever the case was. So, unfortunately, I didn't get to have the opportunity to talk to her, but I saw her, however, from a distance. And yeah, I got to admit, you know, even at her age, she still looks really good for her age. I mean, she still at times looks a little bit like what she
What
looked
do you
like.
mean for her age?
Huh?
Yeah, what the hell do you mean by that, man? I mean, you saying we're old now, people that are in that generation? I mean, I'm just saying.
That's just a polite way of saying it.
I don't know, man. I just don't know.
Ashley Lawrence did a Coors Light commercial. Oh, nice. Here, let me look up.
That sounds
let
like
me look
your
up her-
type of commercial, Tom.
Yeah, let me look up her IMDb. I wonder what other horror films she's been in. Let's see, Hellraiser,
Oh, she's
Hellbound
been in
2,
a few
Hellraiser
other
2.
stuff, but
Let's see.
not
Wait, what is this? Mikey? What is
Mikey.
A
this?
Coors
The
Light
hell is
commercial.
that?
That's a horror film.
See,
Hillary,
oh,
he likes everything.
here,
Hey,
here I'm
Mikey,
reading it.
he likes it.
Seemingly sweet and innocent little boy causes murder and mayhem in his new neighborhood and falls for
Wait,
the
is she
teenage
in?
girl next door.
Hey, Don.
Watch
Huh.
party.
I don't know if you
No.
noticed, but she also had made an appearance on one of the episodes of the second season of Creep Show.
Ooh.
She was in Creepshow. Yeah, the pesticide one. Yeah, I
Yep,
do remember
and
seeing
she
her.
was also in some other movie that was called Lurking Fear from 1994. Oh, it's based on an H.P. Lovecraft. Oh, it's by Full Moon Entertainment.
Huh.
Yep.
She was in
Okay.
Red,
Yeah,
2008.
I guess I don't. Yeah, Creepshow had a lot of people in there. Is there
Yeah,
any
they had a
particular
lot of
reason why those
icons.
people are
I
chosen?
wouldn't be surprised that she was on.
Blue Moth. Oh, Blue Moth. I think the reason why certain people were chosen to become symbiotes, if that's what you're talking about, I'm pretty sure like the people who became or not symbiotes, Cenobites. I said symbiotes.
Cenobites.
I don't know
Yeah, I
why.
was going to say
Cenobites.
symbiotes.
I
Cenobites.
yeah yeah that's. I was playing Spider-Man 2 earlier, so yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, those
Symbiote.
Cenobites. Yeah, but if the Cenobites that used to be human, I'm pretty sure they were like people who were pretty sinful and just came across the box to experience the ultimate in pain and pleasure, and they just ended up becoming. They were just chosen because of because of the way they lived their lives. You know, they were full of sin. They were like, hey, like you know all about being bad, so we're just gonna make you into these hellish creatures.
Well,
Yeah.
I also found out, I did some research on the background of the other Cenobites. Like I said, we know that Pinhead was a former World War One soldier, but for the other Cenobites, for the female one, turned out she was formerly a nun that
Oh,
obviously took a dark turn.
Valak.
Oh,
Balak.
wait. Oh, Balak.
Balak.
You're good thinking. No, she was originally a nun. I don't remember the rest of the story for her. And then for Butterball, he was a guy who I guess there was another reason why he's called that was he was an obese guy, who did eat a lot, but also took pleasure and pain as well in some way. And then Chatterer, get this, you don't really know this until the second movie, but Chatterer, despite his appearance, he's actually supposed to be a teenage boy. He's like supposed to be the youngest out of which goes to show that
So braces, maybe.
even though it looks like the box and the Cenobites only target adults, that's not fully restricted. It can even go as far as basically turning kids into it's not restricted. Kids that somehow do manage to take a dark path of their own of pain and pleasure, they still could become Cenobites themselves. So it goes to show it doesn't really matter how old you are. It could turn you as Cenobite at any age.
At any age, as long as you play with that puzzle box.
Well, not only just the
Yeah.
puzzle box, but if you actually delve into like a lot of the dark arts, into a lot of that pain and pleasure itself, they think it's almost like hell itself. They think that you're good enough to be a good Cenobite, regardless of your age. They would bring you right in.
Right.
Mhm.
Oh, Brexton. Yes, I wanted to bring this up on the podcast as well. Wonder what the team Buffy is going to do. I believe he's referring to the death of Michelle Trachtenberg, and
Yeah.
yeah, I was devastated when I learned about that. I had just gotten off the plane from Florida when I learned about this, and that was the same day she died. And I was like, at first I looked at this, I thought it was like I read somebody on Facebook saying that. I'm like, okay, like if this is a troll, like that is not funny. You know, like making people think that a celebrity died when they really didn't. But
Right.
but sure enough, I looked at Entertainment Weekly, and yeah, Michelle Trachtenberg
Yeah,
was confirmed to be
yeah,
dead.
one.
And
I
yeah,
was still
I
laying in
was
a hospital bed figuring things out, so it was really freaking me out.
Oh
yeah,
yeah, I'm sure.
I'm, I'm sad about that because I loved her in Buffy the Vampire Slayer
Yeah.
and among a long list of other things. We covered one of her movies the past December, Black Christmas,
That's right.
Yep.
the remake. Yes, is the Seven Deadly Sins kind of like? Wait, we just lost
They're
someone.
not
Oh, Tom.
necessarily involving the seven deadly sins in this case. It's just more of just the pleasure and pain they basically surround themselves with and live with.
Yes, like uh, like when no, not Larry, when it was Frank who
Right.
opened the box in the beginning, and they introduced them like all the extremes of the most extreme ends of pain and pleasure, like, and then ended it with tearing his body apart with hooks attached to chains,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
then that set in motion the events of the film, and then and also and of course bless you, and of course
Oh,
Pinhead was like saying, oh yeah, what?
where'd Tom go?
I just commented about that. You didn't hear me?
Sorry,
Beer
no,
run.
I got someone messaged me.
Oh, yeah, and so yeah, like of course, Pinhead was some mentioning like well, how suffering being legendary, and how he just looks forward to bringing these these unnatural like feelings towards people in terms of pain and pleasure. And let's see, like the comments that he made to Kirsty when they first encountered her, and then she made a deal with them saying, hey, well, like you're one of your guys that you've been one of your victims escaped, Frank, I can lead you to him. And so she bargained for her life to exchange him. And I like when I first watched the movie, I thought oh, they're decent guys. They just want Frank back after he escaped. Like when after she brought them to the attic where Frank was, and she Pinhead just looked at her and looked at Kirsty and said, "This isn't for your eyes." Basically indicating that you better look away before you see Frank get torn apart by hooks again.
Yeah.
Save you from being traumatized. And I'm like, yeah, pretty sure she's already traumatized after she saw her father die.
Yeah.
So yeah, but
Oh,
then it turns out to be not true, though. It turns out they were still targeting her even after they got what they wanted, because Pinhead and the female symbiotes confronted her like as she
Cenobite.
was trying. Yeah, female Cenobite confronted her as she tried to leave the house, and Pinhead was saying, "We have such sights to show you."
They were still basically going to take her anyway, and
Yeah,
that's
Cenobites. Yeah, they'll take anyone.
they still in other. It's basically playing the role because in a way, there's that famous line, of course, that Pinhead says is that they're explorers in the furthest regions of experience, demons to some, angels to others, and kind of playing with that role of how demons are. Like when you look in the demonology and whatever case is, the typical rule is like it's basically a deal with the devil. You
Pretty
conjure
much.
up a demon, and you're promising a demon a soul, and it can't go back to hell without one. So in a way, the Cenobites are kind of playing that similar role. Even though they got what they wanted, it was still required that they needed some soul or something to take back with them, and they couldn't go back to hell without it.
Yeah, I
Even
mean,
though
yeah, I
the box
mean,
could still send them away.
Yeah, I mean the Cenobites, Pinhead and the Cenobites, they just consider themselves neither good or evil. Like Pinhead said, we are demons to some and we are angels to some. Along those lines. And okay, first Tom disappeared. Now Nick is disappearing. Have they been playing with the puzzle boxes?
Right?
I don't know what just happened. I'm just sitting here, and all of a sudden, my Jason mask that sits on the holiday boxes literally just fell off without any reason. So, and it's like
Ghost.
far back into the box. So, who knows? May have had some paranormal activity,
Maybe. Yeah. Did Tom just lose
or maybe it's oh no, Joe may have conjured up the Cenobites. There's
the
always something that
Cenobites?
happens before
They're here.
they're after me.
Like,
Well,
who knows?
I'm in trouble.
Who knows if I'm next?
Well, I'm in trouble.
Here I have my cross. Does that help?
I don't think that works against the Cenobites.
Damn.
I
I was about to warm up some Italian. Oh, oh, nice. What is it? Chicken mint. Oh, that sounds good.
Jeez.
Yeah, I tell you, yeah, Braxton he comments like all the time about the kind of stuff that he's always cooking, and I'm just like, wow, Braxton in Louisiana, you got some good eating down there. Seriously.
yeah.
Oh man, but hopefully Tom's okay. Hopefully he wasn't
Yeah, I hope
playing with
he's
any.
doing okay.
Hopefully he wasn't playing with any puzzle boxes.
Yeah, maybe that's why he disappeared. He might have been first, and now
I-
they're coming after me.
yeah, but crazy thing, Joe is like the only one here who actually has one of the puzzle box.
I know, that's awesome.
That's cool.
Oh, you have two of them.
Yeah, he's got two of them.
Yeah, the
Ooh.
smaller ones in a Rubik's Cube.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I heard that they
You can tell that
I've
my
seen those.
grandkids have been playing with because only one side is complete. See?
Oh, I see.
Oh, that's that. Well, then that explains why I'm having.
That explains why, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's one you had to get all the. It was like in Spencer's store. They had the Cenobites as action figures, and you got one piece of the box, and then when you got them all, you had to glue it together.
Oh, that's cool.
Blue Moth loves it.
So that's how you got this one. Is by
He's the
collecting. You got to collect. What is it? 1, 2, 3,
Hey, Goat. Good to see you. It's been a long time.
6.
Yeah.
You got to collect the 6 pieces.
Oh, nice.
Use the Millennium Puzzle to beat the other puzzle.
So
He's talking about Yu-Gi-Oh with the Millennium Puzzle.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember those days. Oh yeah, Jeff, we're all
Good to
doing
see
great.
you, Goat.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've seen you on any of our shows.
Yeah. So tonight we're covering something that many people from the very beginning of this show have been requesting. Yeah.
And it's also from a late birthday request. Oh, was once the the Bel Air house in Ohio. I've heard of that location, Goat. We're actually trying to hopefully sometime plan an investigation to get out to the Bel Air house. That's I've heard a lot about it. And I'm also going to try to
Watch out for Will Smith when you go there.
I'm also going to try to do an episode of
Young Bel Air.
Bel Air House 2 on Nick Files.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I've seen the Bel Air house.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, Fresh Prince of Bel Air was filmed. Yeah, I've been there.
That's in California.
Yeah, it's a different Bel Air house.
I know. I know. I was messing with you.
Yeah, I know you.
Love it.
Oh yeah. And I just like how the actors like this just who played the Cenobites, they just performed their own stunts. Yeah, like he just thought Clive Barker like insisted on that. He thought the makeup just looked menacing. It's like, let's just have them do their stunts. But the only like the as far as Frank, like when like his human form and his skinless form were not played by the same actor. And yeah, and when he first appeared, like skinless, like crawling on the floor, that part that was actually a kid driveway and all that makeup just crawling,
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite scenes. Is where the skeleton crawled into the brain.
Oh yeah. Yeah, like I said, pretty good effects for its time, and with a budget of $1 million, or was it pounds?
It was probably pounds because it was a British film too.
I don't know, but
Yeah.
Either.
At least pounds.
Hope to meet you all there.
That movie made me a big fan of Clive Barker's.
Oh yes.
There's actually a
Would like to meet you, Don. Oh, I'm looking forward to it.
I mean, he's in Ohio, so he's only about 2 states away from us.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank God I just bought a new SUV, so it'll get us there.
One other thing too I should point out was not only this also made me become a big fan of Clive Barker. There's also, I know he's written several tales, including obviously the one that inspired Hellraiser, Hellbound Hound. There's another book that he wrote that probably doesn't get as much attention as some of his other stories go. And this is one I actually read back in middle school. Maybe you guys have heard of it, maybe you haven't. It was called any guys ever remember the book The Thief of Always? Does that sound familiar?
Oh, what is it again? I'm sorry, I was reading Jeff's comment here.
The Thief of Always.
I might have come across that.
The Thief of Always. Well, this one was written a few years after the first 2 Hellraiser movies came out. It came out about over 30 years ago, back in 1992, and unlike other tales that Clive Barker has written, this was kind of pointed to a more family-friendly demographic, but it still kind of is. It's definitely a creepy story. It still has a horror theme to it, because I'll just throw this out since we're talking about Clive Barker.
Right.
The Thief of Always. It's about a young boy. His name is Bill. I think his name is Billy. I think. Again, it's been years since I've read the book, but it's detailing a young boy who, unfortunately, like with typical, like you hear in some of these stories, he doesn't have the best life. He doesn't have a lot of friends. He doesn't get to go out and do very much. His life is very boring. All he does is just go to school, comes back home, maybe does his homework, and that's pretty much it. It's just a very boring life for him. But then there is this entity that shows up at his house one day, and I can't remember again. I forgot most of the characters' names, but it's like this ghoulish character who I guess he's kind of watched this kid from afar and noticed, how his life pretty much sucks. He says, "Well, I might be able to actually take you to a place that could change all of that immediately."
Huh.
Think of it almost kind of like a Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, but in a much more darker theme. But it has nothing to do with food, though.
Right.
He takes this kid to what is known as the Holiday House. Now, apparently, in spite of its appearance, it's supposed to be owned by a mysterious figure by the name of Mr. Hood. And apparently, Mr. Hood's house has stood for over 1,000 years. And here's the thing, like when he goes into the house, he meets two other kids that are there, along with kind of like a housekeeper and some cats that exist, which kind of do have like a supernatural trait to them. But this is where you think it gets fun, but then you realize it's a different story. However, what happens is the Holiday House lives up to its true name. It's like during the day, it's like summer. It's like kind of like you're on summer break basically. But then when it gets close to evening, it turns into fall and it's Halloween.
Huh.
And then later at night and into the early morning, it starts to snow and it's Christmas all of a sudden. So you're like thinking to yourself, it's like that's why it's called the Holiday House. You have all these holidays instead of waiting an entire year for these holidays to arrive, they're coming by the hours. So it's almost like every child's dream to not having to wait so long for the next holidays. Like you just get up next morning and boom, it's right there in front of you. But
Man.
the dark side to it, though, this is where Clive Barker really starts playing a role into this. Two things in particular, what happens. Nearby, there's a mysterious lake in the backwoods, and it's filled with all these giant human-sized fish. And you think to yourself, well, that seems kind of odd. What's with all these fishes and stuff like that?
Yeah.
And again, there's no movie, so I can't really spoil it. But you later find out those fish were once human children that inhabited the Holiday House, and they either had stayed for too long or they turned into these fish when they tried to escape. So they're prisoners practically. And here's the other twist too. There's a mysterious fog that surrounds the Holiday House that acts almost like a force field. Somehow the main character manages to escape,
Right.
and doesn't turn into a fish, but he uncovers something even more darker. When he goes back to his hometown and he comes back to his parents, he finds them elderly. They're old.
Oh man.
That's when he suddenly realized that every day that he has been spending time in that house, an entire year has gone by.
Oh
So
my.
meaning that if it was 20 days that like it doesn't affect the people inside the house, they're still at their age, but anybody outside the fog beyond the house, the whole so like if you spent like 20 days in that house, yeah, it was 20 days for you, but beyond 20 years had passed. So that's why these holidays were going so quick, because it was the years themselves. So,
Right.
Clive Barker, he just does such a great job
He does.
with and there are other supernatural entities that they do encounter along with a monster. And for the last 25 plus years, they've actually been trying to make an adaptation of this film. There were many proposed dates of when this was going to be made, but they kept pushing it back. So this is probably the most popular Clive Barker tale that has yet to have ever been turned into a movie.
Development hell.
It's been in development hell, and I don't know what it is. It just has a really good and here's the ultimate twist. You do encounter they do encounter Mr. Hood, but he's not what you think he is. Because here's the weird part: he's not. They never actually find him. Well, but yet you still hear his voice. It becomes obvious. Mr. Hood, he's not in the house. He is the house. Kind of like almost like a inspiration too for that movie Monster House when you really think about
Probably.
it.
Yeah.
So yeah, Clive
so-
Barker just does a great job with his stories.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess we should wrap this up by talking about the ending of
Yes.
of Hellraiser. So, yeah, so Kirsty is escaping the Cenobites and is closing up the puzzle box, like destroying or not destroying the Cenobites. They can't be killed like that matter. It just sends them back to their dimension. And they manage to escape the house, and the house still has like glowing windows.
Yeah, there's all these swinging doors and just like all this crazy stuff going on.
Yeah. So somehow I feel like the house was haunted even before that puzzle box entered the picture. But so then Kirsty decides to throw the puzzle box into the fire, and even when that happened, I was just like, "Yeah, it's never that simple," with these things. And so then that homeless guy who we see a few times throughout the film, who goes to that pet store, has a mouthful of like a little snack of crickets, then goes then he grabs the box even though it was in a bonfire. He himself goes ablaze. It turns out he's not burning, he's transforming into a skeletal dragon like creature, and I thought that was pretty like out of nowhere.
He was known actually as what's known as an Emerite, which is pretty much supposed to be like the guardians of the puzzle box. That's why he rescued the puzzle box from being destroyed, because the Emerite is pretty much the guardians.
I see.
And that's
that
the reason why you don't see, even though it looks like it should have been, again, with the ranks of the Cenobites, unlike the Cenobites, along with the engineer, which, in a way they confront in groups, the Emerite on the other hand is an isolated being.
X is a lone wolf. X is a lone wolf.
Yeah, acts as a lone. Yeah, basically, it acts like the box's eyes and ears in a way. Once the box had conjured up the Cenobites, the Emerite has no other role to play but to watch from a distance or sense from a distance.
That makes sense. Oh, Thomas, yeah, Kate is not here today because she's had to go to the emergency room to because she had a reaction to some antibiotic medication or something like that. So I'm sure we'll hear from her soon. I'm hoping she's doing better.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's but yeah, that's what the Emerite plays a role. That's the only other entity, by the way, when you really think about it, that does play a partial role in some of the other Hellraiser movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys.
It's okay. Yeah, but I thought that effect was pretty cool. Like the person being on fire effect. Like those stuntmen who do those in movies, have themselves set on fire. That's insane. Like we see them on fire for like seconds at a time. I've seen like a stunt where a guy was on fire for like 15 seconds. That's a pretty long time.
Yeah.
And they have to have like something protecting themselves from getting burned alive because that can go wrong in some ways.
It can.
I've seen it happen.
One other thing I got to point out too, speaking of like harm to entities and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The scene where Kirsty sends all the Cenobites back, as well as the engineer. There was one thing that didn't make a lot of sense she sent almost everybody back except for Butterball because she was about to attack from behind with her boyfriend.
Yeah, about to attack, I think Steve was his name.
Yeah, I think that's what his name was. And yeah, we never see him. We never see Butterball again. Like, she didn't even bother sending him back. But some people believe that most likely because of the debris that crashed on him, either one of two things could have happened. Either it could have caused him to be basically sent back in another way, like he could have just vanished. Or the other possibility too was Kirsty probably may have used it off screen, and we just didn't see it occur because he's back in the second film without explanation. So I would assume either the debris from the house falling on him basically desummoned him, basically sent him back in another way, or I think Kirsty just sent him off camera.
Probably. So, I just looked up the actor who played Steve in that film, the boyfriend. Robert Hines. He died 10 years ago.
Oh, what happened to him?
I can't.
He
See.
died. Pay attention. No.
Yeah, he
Well, I
died.
know he died, but what happened to him?
I know. I'm just messing, man.
Let's see. October 23rd, 2015, heart attack.
How old was he?
He was born. He was the same. He was born the same year as my dad, so 1958. So
50.
That
He
makes
was-
me feel a little better.
yeah, he was like late 50s.
Okay.
Yeah. So, man.
That was about my dad's age then.
Yeah.
And Tom McNicholas's age too. That was the same year he was born.
Oh yeah. And so yeah, rest in peace, Robert Hines. And let's see. Let's see what I want to take a look. I know that that's Doug Bradley hasn't been played. Hasn't played Pinhead in a while. I just want to look and see what he's done lately because I know he hasn't. He's still acting. Let's see. He's looks like some like lesser known. It looks like he's still doing horror, but like he started in a movie called The Exorcists, like plural. Oh, it's an it's an Asylum knockoff. I knew it.
Asylum, not oh god. If it's
Asylum knockoff of the latest Exorcist movie. So yeah, I knew it.
I thought you meant I thought you were referring to the company name, the Asylum.
I am.
Oh, it is. Okay, yeah, that's if it's something involving the Asylum, as we all know.
It's anything that's from anything that is from that production company is just a big waste of time.
The only thing that was ever good from the Asylum, to be fully honest, was the TV show Z Nation. That's the only thing that they did was that was good.
Oh man,
did you ever watch that?
No.
Oh, I think you would like it actually. Don.
Oh, wait, actually, he did play he did play Pinhead. He voiced him in that game Dead by Daylight.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, Dead by Daylight. Like that game is pretty. That game is good.
That's the other thing though. I'm surprised we didn't bring up about with Doug Bradley like portraying Pinhead in the first one. You notice how he has just this incredible deep sound he has in his voice. But unfortunately, you don't really hear it as much in the later films. I mean, he still has it, but it doesn't have like that intense sound to it. And it's obvious too that yeah, he did that mostly himself, but obviously, like you see with movies, there were some sound effects that were added to it. So obviously, he didn't fully do that all by himself. That was obviously through sound effects.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Toned his volume down to give him an even more deeper, more intense voice to him.
Right. And, well, he was. I can't picture anybody else playing Pinhead other than him.
Think about it too, Don. We're about the same age he was when he portrayed Pinhead. He was in his early 30s.
That's right.
While Kirsty, on the other hand, was younger. She was like in her early 20s.
Yeah, this was her debut. So, yeah, then she reprised her role in several of the sequels.
Yep.
And then the puzzle box ends up back with another merchant in another part of the world, ready to continue the cycle again.
What's your pleasure, sir?
Yeah, never buy puzzle boxes. Yeah.
Well, Joe already did. He's got it.
Yep. Sorry, Joe.
Yeah, Joe's got two of them.
Hey, I'm going for. Actually, I saw one today because out of curiosity after watching the movie, and it's probably about the 100th time I've watched Hellraiser, but I rewatched it because Don said it was can be found here. So I went and looked and found it and started watching it, and then I went to look on Amazon, and they've actually got the puzzle box so that it looks more like when it goes from the cube shape and the way she moves it and stuff, it moves more like that.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that they actually have replicas.
Well, I'm going to get myself a third one because I added it to my wish list.
So if Joe ever disappears,
yeah, now we know why.
Yeah, they're selling them.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, they're selling them for $20.
Yeah,
it's not too bad. which we keep forgetting the name. It's they're known really. It's really supposed to be known as the Lament Configuration.
Right.
All I know is I want one.
Let's see.
You know
Oh,
how
we're-
long it took me to
That's the
get
best statement all night.
the
Right?
correct
Ooh.
pieces to the one that you had to
Original
buy
code.
each little individual piece and then glue it together. That took
Oh.
forever because
Oh,
you had
man.
to find the exact action figure that had it. That piece with it.
Yeah. So yeah, it's true, Bluemouth. You could actually buy your own puzzle box from Hellraiser. For
Yep.
$20, you can actually summon the Cenobites.
I want one. And you know what? As far as being
That's
scared
$20
of that
in a
thing,
bun.
I'm a vampire, Nick. I told you this. I'm
I
gonna
know
live
you do.
forever.
No.
Yeah.
There ain't nothing that can kill me.
There
I've survived. I've already survived hell. I've been there and back.
Yeah.
You consider exactly what I've been through my entire life. It's been like hell and back, especially the leukemia shit.
Oh, I believe it. I definitely do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's gonna wrap it up for tonight. Let's see. Let's see. In like less than 2 weeks is gonna be St. Patrick's Day, and so we got one last Tuesday before that, and
yeah,
you guys,
Tuesday before my birthday.
yeah. So St. Patrick's Day, and FearFans, you guys know, you already know where I'm going with this. So next Tuesday we are going to be covering something another chapter of a franchise we covered every St. Patrick's Day, and that's Leprechaun. So we're covering Leprechaun 3 next
Oh,
Tuesday.
my favorite.
Yes.
My favorite out of this series. I love that one. That's the
Back in
Las
the hood?
Vegas episode.
Yeah. Many people argue it to be the best, and I can see why.
It's
Yeah.
the limericks.
Yes. So, yeah, be sure to tune in next week as we cover Leprechaun 3 for our St. Patrick's Day special.
And if I could just say one other thing, I mean, this conversation definitely, was great when it came to Hellraiser, but we'll definitely have to have a second conversation in the case for Hellbound Hellraiser too.
We will definitely cover that one day.
And you got to admit, I'm just going to say this. I forgot to mention this. Like you said, Don, the effects were amazing. Those scenes involving the puzzle box, and you saw the electricity and stuff, the animated effects.
Yeah.
You got to admit, that was really cool. That was definitely no CGI. I was hand-drawn animation added to it.
Pretty sure.
When you really think about it, it just seemed like the effects got even better in Hellbound Hellraiser 2. Not only did you see more of those animated scenes, but just the effects overall. It become I think I would describe both the first two Hellraiser movies as more of a not only just horror, but also a dark fantasy film, because it also does have that fantasy theme to it.
It does. Yeah. I can certainly see that. Yeah, so one day, somewhere down the road, we will cover Hellraiser 2. Also, one thing I want to do soon, I want to get back into covering more Friday the 13th movies, because we still got to cover those and Freddy versus Jason.
Oh yeah,
yes,
right.
And Jeremy said he wanted to join us if we covered Jason X and Freddy versus Jason.
That's his favorite.
Yes. So yeah, during spring and summer, we will definitely have to wrap that up. Yeah. So
definitely.
Yeah, but first we got to cover. We got other things to cover, and we also got to cover more Stranger Things, because the final season's starting to come out in October.
Oh, that's right.
Yep. So put that show on your schedule, Nick.
Well, I might be able
Yeah.
to watch it this week, because I don't go back to work now until Saturday. So I might actually have some time to. I mean, right now I got to get, like I said, as soon as I get off here, I got to get to the St. Patrick's Day decorations. But as soon as I'm done, I got some open time to probably start watching some of it.
Yep. Stranger Things season 3. That's the next one we're covering. And yes, Thomas, I got the notification that the new Daredevil show is on Disney Plus. I'm gonna be I'm gonna put it on my big screen over there. Gonna start watching. Yes. So that's gonna be it for this edition of the Fear Fans podcast. Like I said, be sure to tune in next week as we cover Leprechaun 3. But until then,